What's up, everybody? This is Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're listening to the LCC Network. Go Bucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse and the LCC Network for the 2021 LCC Rookie Draft Special. We've got a very interesting episode just because this is our rookie draft. We're heading into it the night before. This is before, everything hits the fan and gets crazy in here. But with me today, I've got Jordan, like always, in the show. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? We're fighting a shit ton of technical difficulties.
They have no idea.
Everything we can in this podcast.
Yeah, they have no idea what we've gone through tonight. And then, of course, we got Steve Maffali on the show, GM of the Mufasa Moneymakers. What's going on?
What's going on? Just along for the ride tonight.
That's all you can do tonight.
You're becoming along for the ride pretty often recently.
Yeah, I'm a hitchhiker, man. Once I find me a ride, I'm hiking on for good.
That's right. Gas money, It's what do they say? Ass, grass, or gas?
Basically, yeah. It's got to be one of them.
Yeah.
What's it going to be?
All right, I'll let you know which one in a couple days.
All right. So, yeah. Let's tell a little about our show.
Yeah. So obviously, guys, this is pretty much it. We're gonna be talking about the rookie draft, or at least players. And instead of doing the traditional ranking show where we rank rookie players like we have done every year up till now, I feel like there's so many websites and so many analysts out there doing their own rankings. Like, how much value does that kind of episode really provide to people listening? I don't think it does add that much value, at least for the rookie draft, because only so many players are gonna get picked anyways. We thought collectively that doing it by category would be more interesting, and not by player position category, but biggest bust, who's most likely to bust, who's a guy who's like the safest pick you can make, that sort of stuff. But yeah, rookie draft starts tomorrow night. Actually, by this time tomorrow, there's no telling how far into the draft we'll be. Our rookie draft is a long running draft. It goes from Friday night 5 p.m. Eastern time to Monday. I want to say almost the exact same time is when it ends. It's scheduled to end. It should end way sooner. I'm praying that it does, because I do not want a rookie draft taking that long. But it's gonna be it's gonna be a blast.
On there, Q's, I feel like we can get it done over the weekend, but that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, we could probably get half of it done Friday night if everyone's active. But we'll just have to wait and see for that. Yeah, I mean, news and notes around the league, there's really not much. This is it. The news and notes are the LCC Rookie Draft is about to happen. For those listening, you may be listening Friday morning on your way to work or something like that. Yeah. So, this is it. It's game day. Jordan, you want to do a little,
let's do it.
Little sound drop for us heading into this?
All right, there you go.
All right, I'm pumped. All right, so to kick us off, guys, we're doing 3 categories. We're doing impact players, best investment, sleeper, bust. Sorry, 4 categories. I can't count. So we're going to kick it off, I guess, with, let's start with you, Maffali. Let's let you kick it off for immediate impact player that you got on your list.
My immediate impact, guys, I'm sure, consensus across a lot of boards, because, he's the offensive guy at the position that's thin, and he's got a great opportunity and a lot of potential touches ahead of him. And that's Najee Harris for the Steelers. I think he's just in a great spot right now, and, they spent a first round pick on him. So obviously they like him a lot. So
you want to make an announcement there with that?
What announcement?
For
he's playing hard to get. He's playing hard to get.
Nah. So yeah, there's an official trade tonight for the 2nd overall pick in the rookie draft, which is essentially for Najee Harris. So while we're talking about him, we will say that the 2nd overall pick was traded, and I'll be trading back 2 spots, and I essentially received a 3rd-round pick for that. So
Cool. That's a blockbuster right there. Jordan, you there?
the spot. So
It's
I
a
could have been
huge-
some bigger ones. A lot of people offered me a lot more picks and everything, but I already had a bunch of picks anyways. So for me, it was more about like just trying to move back as little as possible and hopefully get, people that I like anyways in the draft that I can get at that pick, just sliding back 2 spots anyways. And, Najee Harris is a great player. I could definitely end up regretting it, but that's the kind of game I play with fantasy. I trade constantly. So
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just a huge assumption that Najee's going, but that's what we're going to ride with.
Oh no, it's not an assumption. I mean, I guess the person come on here and speak for themselves, but they've already said that that's who they're trading for. I mean, I feel like anybody who was trading for that pick knew clearly who they wanted, and it was probably going to be, the guy Najee Harris.
So, do you mind saying the trade one more
Sounds
time
good.
for us? You cut out just a little bit on my end.
Okay, so it's technically, I'll send a screen.
Oh man, you guys cut out again.
And his 3rd-round pick. It cut out again.
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as you're about to
Yeah.
say it, it's like the fantasy gods don't want people to know what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, then everyone's just gonna have to see the screenshot in the group chat.
It's not cutting out on my end, so it might just be something with you, Patrick.
Yeah, it probably is. Which sucks because I'm the one recording it, but we'll just keep it rolling
Yeah.
anyways. So yeah,
All good.
long story short, a trade has already been made for the first overall rookie pick. Jordan, you want to talk about your immediate impact player?
Yes, I would love to. My immediate impact player, well, me and Patrick were both on this guy, so we'll both give our thoughts about him. But I'm going to lean IDP here and say Jamin Davis. I might be pronouncing his first name wrong, but Jamin Davis, linebacker for the Washington football team. I just feel like he's going to have an immediate opportunity to start, which would lead to the immediate. Yeah, and so between what they already have on their defensive line, I just feel like he's going to have free gaps to sprint through, and that always translates to a linebacker gobbling up tackles. So year one, definitely I see him making the impact.
Yeah, I agree. This is my actual immediate impact player too. I love Davis. You think of the linebackers Ron Rivera's coached over the years and the development he played, especially for Luke Kuechly, for example. And I get it. Luke Kuechly's almost a generational linebacker. You don't get that kind of talent in every NFL draft, but I think that there's a lot to be seen there with Davis, and I think he's in a very good landing spot for him to develop and be good long term and immediately as well. He's not a guy I feel like you got to put on the back burner and just let him simmer before he's ready to eat. He's a guy who's from day one ready to go in your starting lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't have much competition out there at linebacker. They really don't have a great linebacking core. They didn't last year in Washington, and that's somewhere they obviously addressed in the draft. And I think Jamin Davis is definitely in line, especially with a great defensive line. I mean, that's really what makes a lot of good linebackers is having a great defensive line in front of you. So that guy's going to be running around like unblocked and I think he's got a potential for at least 100 tackles this year.
Yeah. I agree. And you think about, oftentimes linebackers do really well when there's just a solid front seven in general. And Washington has that, especially with Chase Young on the outside there. I really think he's in a great landing spot. Really, for anyone in any IDP league, you should be looking at Davis. Whether you have a rookie draft or just like a regular redraft, every year, I think Davis should definitely be on your board of targets.
So it sounds like we're all in agreement with him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great player.
Our next, we'll keep it on the IDP train. You want to give the folks your best investment pick, Steve?
Yeah, my best investment pick is, I guess, like, somebody who is potentially still just as good of a linebacker as Jamin Davis can be, and that's Micah Parsons. I mean, somebody who obviously was really highly rated out of the draft, the highest rated linebacker, and, falls in a pretty decent position maybe in Dallas. A little bit questionable for me, but either way, I think he's the best long-term investment. They've been, struggling to stay healthy, and, they're just, if he could stay on the field for them and, you know, just be out there. I think another guy who, like I said, could eat up 100 tackles. And I was reading earlier that they, tried him out at DN supposedly during, OTAs so far. But to me, that just tells me they probably sending him blitzing more and everything. They just probably want to get him more used to being near the line of scrimmage. They're definitely not going to put a guy like that at DN, like ever. He's way too athletic and, but to me, that just reads as like, I think they're trying to get him more used to being in the line of script, like, in there with like the big D line, O lineman and everybody, and they probably want to send him on blitzes more because he is so fast. He can make plays I think he's a great investment pick, and maybe not as immediate of an impact as Jamin Davis, because I think Davis into a better position overall in terms of like, the D line he's got in front of him and just the opportunity of like, I still think, Parsons will be competing for tackles with Jalen Smith, who's a great. Not that two guys can't, eat on the same team, but it definitely doesn't help when you have another great tackler right beside you.
Yeah,
So.
I totally agree with him. Could possibly be the best man. He's an absolute freak of an athlete, and he did a lot of great things at Penn State. And I like the reason he wasn't higher off the board. I feel like were some character things. So maybe not the greatest situation in Dallas, but I feel like he will have tons of opportunity. He should definitely replace Van Der Esch, and I love Smith as well, but he hasn't really proven the ability to stay healthy either. So especially over a long term thing, Michael Parsons could easily step in and like be the guy within a next year or two.
No, I like Micah
most
Parsons.
definitely.
Like for a guy who had literally made the trade for Jalen Smith moments before that pick was in. I mean, I say moments, a couple hours before. I was like, oh God, man, that killed me just because Parsons is the future of that defense, whether you like it or not. Like that guy, he was graded as the highest linebacker going in the NFL draft itself. I just think that Parsons is the future of that linebacking core. Now, how Van Der Esch fits in the midst of this is going to be very interesting, and as well with Jalen. I hope there's not a lot of like splitting time, but usually with linebackers, especially interior linebackers, you don't see that quite as often. But Micah Parsons, I do like a lot, and I expect him to go relatively early in our rookie draft, just because, like I said, Dallas paid a hefty price tag for him, obviously, and it's probably going to pay off in the long run. And I think that means there's a lot, to be excited about if you're someone drafting him in the rookie draft.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, who's your
I
investment?
guess I'll move on to my best investment. Yeah. I kind of took the easy way out on the best investment, and I went with the number one overall pick in the NFL draft, Mr. Trevor Lawrence. He's a quarterback. He's going to get to start, and he's going to have ample time. I'm talking about over the next 1 to 3 years to either succeed or fail. He's not going to be benched. You know what I mean? So, best investment. You're getting a player that's going to be on the field, barring injury, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure he does play well. So, I don't really see much of a chance that not paying off for somebody.
Yeah, I think just by default, I mean, he's the starter from day one. I think Trevor should put up solid numbers, whether you like it or not, whether you believe in Trevor, whether you believe in the Jaguars. I think that's pretty irrelevant at this point. I think the way they're going to use him is pretty evident, especially drafting Travis Etienne, which, by the way, he's not on our list for anything. Fun fact, Travis Etienne, so take that for however you want to see it. But they've got so much speed. I think Trevor is going to be just zipping it out there. and just by default, he should have solid numbers.
Yeah.
My
You got
investment.
Steve? I didn't know if Steve wanted to add to the
Oh yeah,
Trevor.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not gonna add to the Trevor Lawrence hype.
Yeah,
train.
he's pretty much a Trevor hater.
actually,
But
let me ask you
I
guys.
basically see Trevor with similar numbers to Justin Herbert year
Okay.
one.
I was gonna ask, do you think Trevor Lawrence goes in our first round of our rookie draft? What are your thoughts on that?
100%.
100%.
I'm gonna say yes.
Oh my god.
100%. I don't. Like, I'd bet on it. That's basically what that's saying. You know, I would put my money on it that he goes in the first round.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I hope he does.
I know a lot of quarterbacks fell. I know a lot of quarterbacks, but people are going to keep falling in love with the idea of like the free keeper. You know, it adds a lot more value to everybody. So
yeah.
I think he's going to go first round. There's a few people that put in first rounders too that need quarterbacks. So I could see them all. Going with it.
And I wouldn't say 100% quite like Steve, but I definitely do think he's going to go first round.
I was thinking more second round, but if someone pays that much for rookie QB, by all means, I hope they do. It pays out for me picking later on.
So, what's your best investment, Pat?
Yeah, I like Javonte Williams up there in Denver coming out of North Carolina. In fact, I really liked him as the best running back going into the NFL draft itself. I know that initially they have a stable, obviously, in the running back core, but I think Williams, you cannot not see that he's the future of that running game. I mean, I think Williams is going to ease into that starting role. I don't think you're going to see RB1 numbers for quite a while this season, but he is going to pay off eventually. I don't want to say you'd be looking at the same timeline as Jonathan Taylor, but I do think it will be at some point this year, probably in the later half of the year of the NFL season at least, where he really comes onto the scene as the guy.
Yeah, I like Javonte. I was a huge fan of him in college. Shout out to Daquan Star Heels, but he did really nice with them and Denver. I feel like they're gonna overall want to try to run the ball. Like over the next few years, to have a good offense, they want to start by running the ball.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like they need to maybe. It sounds weird to say that, but I feel like they need to solidify quarterback a little more to be able to run the ball effectively. So I love Javonte, but in my opinion, he's more of a guy that could be a real home run for next season, which still could be valuable this season. But,
oh yeah.
The value I expect that you'd be able to keep him, he could come up huge for keeper in year two.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people assume that Gordon's going to be the starter to start the year, but I really do. I think it's going to be Javonte Williams just because, I mean, Gordon's in the last year of his deal. This might be the last one he gets just because, I mean, I know it's Melvin Gordon, but running backs are just becoming more and more frequent around the league. It's easy to get them late in drafts and so. But either way, I think they're going to try to commit to the guy that's younger and they want to develop him, obviously. I think they'll obviously still use Gordon because they have him on the roster. They're paying him a good $8 million or so this year, something like that. And, I think but I think it's going to be Javonte Williams' backfield, if not right away, by the end of the year for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they're just going to go with the younger guy.
It's going to be interesting to see, just because you got somewhat of a QB battle going on there. So I don't think they feel very confident in their passing game. They're going to run by default a lot of times, or throw it short and just chunk it down, slowly down the field. But I think Williams is a good investment piece. I don't expect him to go early, though. Don't get me wrong, in our rookie draft, just because there are a number of running backs in that backfield that they can go with. So, but he is an investment piece for sure if you're looking for your RB1 for possibly in 2022.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's always obviously the 2 first-round running backs this year that got taken are going to be the big names, but it's every year every single year there's guys that either undrafted or drafted late that end up playing well. So I don't expect anything less this year, and he could definitely be that guy. Now that he was even drafted second round, that's not even late. So
yeah,
but still he's not the big name ETN Harris. Like those are the guys that everybody's really talking about.
Yeah. Who's your sleeper, Steven?
Well, we're doing sleeper now. You said I kind of broke up there.
Yeah, sleeper. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my sleeper is Javonte Williams' old teammate actually at North Carolina, Michael Carter, a guy who just like is competing with, I forgot who the Jets signed, but I think he's definitely going to be competing for the starting job, and I think he's a really good pass catcher, and that's going to play big for them. They're going to want Zach Wilson to have a security blanket back there, and again, just teams like that just want to usually work with the younger guy, just the guy with more potential, the young guy that they just drafted because, that's, how it goes. Like there's no need to play veterans out there when you're a young team trying to rebuild. So I just think Michael Carter is definitely a sleeper pick. And, I don't know if he goes after or before Javonte Williams. I know he was drafted after Javonte Williams in like the real draft, but in terms of like the rookie draft, I'm not sure who will go first, but I could definitely see Michael Carter having a great year this year.
I can agree with that too. Like you said, another Tar Heel, but he's one that has a little in front of him too. But overall, I feel like he would become the best overall back on the roster. You mentioned
they have Tevin Coleman. I just want to say that quick. That's who is ahead of him.
They have Coleman, like you said, and he showed flashes in San Francisco. Couldn't really stay healthy, but I think Michael Carter will beat him out probably by the end of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think Coleman is an every down back anyways.
Yeah, I agree with you. Carter will use his hands to get that job, I feel like.
Cool. Who's your sleeper, Jordan?
My sleeper was, and this is, take this sleeper with a grain of salt because I don't want to suggest draft this player just because there's a legitimate chance he's not on the field for a while and it could really screw your team. But my sleeper is going to be quarterback Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears. And the only thing limiting Justin is when will he be on the field.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree he's already better than Nick Foles and Andy Dalton. It's just a matter of him learning the system and being trusted as a rookie. But if he does get on the field sooner than later and you can somehow get him, maybe not even in this rookie draft, but I just feel like he's somebody that's going to immediately put up dual threat numbers and could really be a big sleeper if somehow they decided throughout training camp Justin Fields just looked head and shoulders better than everyone. He could really bring a boost to somebody's roster, I feel like.
I agree. I mean, I was a big fan of Fields going into the draft. I was hoping he was going to go to Carolina, honestly. But obviously, that didn't come to fruition. I'm so sad about that. But, yeah, I love Fields. Is he a guy, though, that's actually worth drafting in our rookie draft?
Yeah, see, that's where I would stop it. I personally would say no. Don't draft him because if he doesn't play, you can only hold one quarterback. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But if that man found his way to the field, I mean, you're looking at the next dual threat with he's got pretty good weapons. If you count in like David Montgomery and Allen Robinson, he's got his legs to carry him in for, at least I would say 5 or 6 touchdowns, like rushing. So the getting on the field is going to be his only setback. So that's where I would pump the brakes on actually drafting him in this, which I didn't know if I wanted to mention him anyway because of that. But when he does play, I feel like he's going to be an asset.
Definitely. I mean, he's going to give you so many rushing yards on top of passing.
Yeah.
You got anything to add, Mafali?
No, that was, I agree, same,
Yeah, my guy is, for my sleeper, and some people may say it isn't a true sleeper because I've seen some people rank him as a top 5 IDP rookie, but I do kind of see him as a sleeper, and that's Kwity Paye as a defensive end. I say that because in our league, defensive linemen, they don't get a lot of the respect that they deserve in some cases. If I wasn't already rostering Chase Young, I would be foaming at the mouth to get Kwity Paye relatively early. But knowing that I've already got my guy, I don't need him. I mean, no one in our league starts multiple defensive linemen. If you do, it's because you have no other options. But no, Kwity Paye, for those that don't have a defensive lineman or they have guys like, I don't feel great about him, Kwity Paye is the guy you should be targeting. And I don't want to tell you to spend a top 3 round pick, but I do think within the first 6 rounds, you should be trying to get Kwity Paye, maybe even the first 5 rounds. He's in Indianapolis, for don't know, and he is on a great, great defense. And we've seen it time and time again. When you've got a great front 7, that allows for your rookie defensive lineman to really develop and be great early on. We saw it with Chase Young in Washington. We've seen it with other guys in the past. I just think that you can't ignore Kwity Paye's presence on that front 7, and you're going to notice it on your starting lineup week in and week out.
Yeah, I love Kwity Paye. I mean, I think he's going to be an absolute stud. I mean, he's somebody who was like a late starter in football, really just one of those guys who just kind of walked into football and was like, oh, yeah, I'm really big and fast. I can do this. Like, yeah, let's do it, And I think he's just so raw. And that now once he gets some great coaching underneath him, like, he's really going to explode. And like you said, just having a great defense around him too is going to help. He's not going to see double teams or anything. I mean, he's got DeForest Buckner on that line with him. He's going to, see plenty of single teams. So just
I agree with that.
Guy.
I mean, I agree with that. Depending on what round you can get him in, I feel like he can be a really nice investment and maybe a even better keeper depending on what happens throughout the season. But yeah, like y'all said, just with the great defense around him, there will be single blocks to be had and plays to be made. So he may do it.
He's going to do it. All right, Mafali, who is your bust player for this rookie draft?
My bust player is Zaven Collins. I think he's going to have the same struggles that Isaiah Simmons had last year. Just like, where does he fit into this defense now? And he's going to have to be learning a lot. Like, they might even do the same thing that they did to Isaiah Simmons and make him learn every position, which is definitely not a favor to any rookie. And I just think, there's already, if Budda Baker has solidified himself as a guy who's going to go out there and get a lot of tackles. And, so it's basically just Simmons and Collins battling for who's going to, be that second guy, because you're not going to see 3 guys on one defense really get near 100 tackles like that or 90. Like, it's just really not possible. So it's just going to be those two kind of battling it out. And I think, I'll give the edge to the second-year guy who's already, got a nice fit in this offense now, hopefully, after, learning every position last year, basically.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem for him. If Isaiah Simmons were to take that next step, and like you said, you already have Budda gobbling up plays on the back end. So he may see a learning curve and just may not be quick enough mentally to get to the plays that the other guys are getting to. But I can see why you would label him as the bust.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Zaven Collins it's kind of like you guys said. I mean, who's going to be the leading tackler in this defense? Because they have so many weapons in that defense now. It's scary. From a actual NFL perspective, like forget fantasy, forget IDP, forget rookie draft, Zaven Collins in Arizona is a great thing for the Cardinals. All right? I mean, that defense is loaded, I feel like, with a lot of young and veteran talent to really contribute. But where does Zaven Collins fit in that? I mean, is he going to be a guy who actually gets 100 tackles? I don't think that's going to happen, at least this year. I think if you get Collins early, you're probably going to be a little disappointed with the performance you get, at least early on in the season.
Yeah.
But
I can
who's your pick? Who's your bust, Jordan?
Okay, my bust, and this will keep me on the quarterback train because this will be my 3rd straight quarterback picked. But my bust of the rookie draft is quarterback Zach Wilson of the New York Jets. Star player out of BYU. He showed great flashes. I'm not a huge fan of him. I didn't like the competition he played in college. Uh, his biggest game of his career was Coastal Carolina, and the Chanticleers gave him the work, man. Gave him all he could handle. He looked like a hot turd in that game on national television. So I'm not a big fan of him. You can't convince me he's that much better than Sam Darnold ever was in New York. And you can't convince me that they've made so many additions to that offense that it really doesn't matter that he's better than Sam Darnold. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Zach Wilson. I don't think he's going to be very great, especially early on, if he is ever good.
Yeah, I agree, man. I just how many times are you gonna get burnt on QBs up there in New York? You know what I mean? Like, remember the Mark Sanchez era? I get that they went to some AFC Championship games, but from a fantasy perspective, like, come on, like that was a joke. And I mean, maybe Wilson can be better, but I just, even from a culture standpoint, like I don't know if he fits in. I really don't. Like it, that could be a bust from a fantasy perspective and an actual NFL perspective.
Even those Mark Sanchez teams going to the AFC title game, it wasn't too long ago, but it was still a slightly different era of football. They made it to those championships pounding the rock and playing defense,
Yeah.
which rarely happens now. So I feel like they're going to ask Zach to sling that ball around, and I don't know if it's going to end too well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, nobody likes Zach Collins, man. I'm around a lot of Jets fans up here in Connecticut, and not one of them's been able to look me in the face and be serious and say that they're excited about Zach Wilson. So Jets fans feel the same way from what I've gathered.
Well, there you go, straight from Jet Nation.
Yeah.
So my bust to round tonight's episode out is Rashad Bateman. And can anyone name me a wide receiver one out of Baltimore since Lamar Jackson has been there? No. Okay, that's what I thought.
Oh, yeah, one. No, I can't either.
Because there isn't one. I mean, there's a reason. It's not because Lamar sucks. It's not because they have a lot of places to throw the ball. It's because they want to run the football. And Lamar is so dynamic that I don't know if Bateman is really worth taking in a lot of rookie drafts. Like maybe if you're in a dynasty league and it's a very deep dynasty league, then of course you're going to take Bateman. But in our league, in our format where you just start one receiver, one tight end every week, Bateman almost every single week should not be in your starting lineup. And he won't be in your starting lineup more than likely because there's so many other players you get to do. There's even tight ends out there that I would start over Bateman. And I just feel like in that offense, in that system, Rashad Bateman really doesn't have a chance to flourish. Maybe if he would have gone to a place like, I don't know, Philadelphia, for instance, that would have been great. That would have been an excellent landing spot for him. Anywhere where they needed a tight end or a receiver and where they actually throw the football, I'm just not on the Bateman train. I can't do it, and I really don't think it's going to pan out well if someone does draft him.
I could see that. Like you said, it's never happened. So why believe it starts now with a rookie receiver? You're telling me he's all of a sudden Calvin Johnson and is going to elevate Lamar that much? But I could be wrong. Just don't think he's really the risk, especially anywhere close to the front half of the draft. You were talking about starting people over. Like, there's a handful of rookies that I would immediately start over him in my head, and they might not even be considered the one on their team.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he's worth it. And for like long term, from a long term perspective, like a dynasty or keeper perspective, I still don't know if he's worth it.
Absolutely not. Nobody. I would never trust anybody that goes to the Ravens. Just that, that's just not what they're built to do. And you saw what happened with Hollywood Brown. I don't see why it's going to be any different with Rashad Bateman. So
yeah, I put a lot of stock into Hollywood last year on some Yahoo leagues. It didn't go well.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's it. That's all we got for our rookie draft special. Even with the technical difficulties, I still had a blast. It took us forever just to get the show started. Even when we did, it was There are some rough patches, at least from a technical perspective on my end. But this is going to be fun. This should be a blast. It's going to move quickly, the rookie draft. I'll try to put out some tweets from our league account if I can. If I have the chance to, I think it'd be fun. But I'm just looking forward to see where guys value some of these rookies. Because for me personally, I wouldn't draft Trevor Lawrence in the first. But obviously, there are some people out there that definitely would. And we'll get to see how that goes tomorrow starting at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
Yep.
excited.
And instead of it would have originally kicked off with Steve, but I guess it officially kicks off with the Steel Curtain tomorrow.
Ooh, assuming there's not a counter. There's not a counter.
It's without a counter. So if you're listening to this and you want that pick, go ahead and jingle Steve's line, and I'm sure he'll pick up.
Steve, I won't be surprised, honestly, if we do get a counter, because I felt like for that pick and what's there, someone's going to offer more than a third-round pick to go with the first. I guarantee you.
Yeah, most definitely. I know it's the different 24 counter. Like, it's not like this, like the same 24-hour counter rule, but that's really more applies to, like, you know, if it was like right in the draft. You know, Cody accepted it like a while ahead, and I posted it. So now, like, technically, there is a window for somebody to counter. But
when you got till it starts to counter now.
Say what?
I said they basically have till the pick is in to counter.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be interesting to see. I bet the price gets driven up pretty high, which will be fun.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, you want to sing us a song as we close it in for the night?
I'm singing, and it sounds fantastic, and we're done with the show.
All right, we'll see you guys.